Hello everyone, it's Tom Miller here speaking, and I'm coming at you on this audio live from, I understand you're watching it through YouTube, I'm just using YouTube to host the audio. But coming at you from, I'm just recording this audio today, the date is the 1st of October, from China, in Putian. So it's just on the outskirts of Putian. So for those of you who don't know where Putian is, it's basically straight inland from Taiwan. And it's a real unique perspective out here. I mean, I've lived out here before for roughly 6 months on and off. And yeah, it's like it's a different world. Like right now I'm just at the, in my apartment and I'm looking over a small river and there's all the Chinese, they all grow their own food here. You know, it's quite sort of scattered, the buildings, there's a lot of rubble everywhere. It's kind of like a bombed out old city, yet at the same time, you know, there's a lot of people living here and making do with what they got. And especially coming out here this time to China, I really see the importance of, you know, building these global village construction sets so that there can be better building materials, safer building materials. You know, there's concrete, just piles of concrete left, right, and center that is just not being used for anything, or people have this habit of just dumping things on the side of the road, and then right beside that dump is then people are growing food. So it's a real chaotic place, and I guess it sort of is a direct mirror image of the mindset of the Chinese that are living here. Yet at the same time, there's factories all around, and pretty much most products that we use, especially electronics-wise, all comes from China. So it's the most diverse place on the planet. And then you got, you know, electronics factory sitting right there. I'm looking out right now at the river, and then on the other side you've got, you know, cows or you know, people growing food. So yeah, it's really diverse. And then you've got this super rich people, and then you've got really super poor people in terms of monetary. But you know, they're all doing their farming. So I'm shooting this audio recording because the internet is shocking here at the moment. We're getting a new, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the Chinese government blocked Google and Facebook, which is rightly so, because it would kind of like give too much power to Google and Facebook, and we do need some sort of balancing of that type of power. So yeah, I mean, the Chinese have their own version of Google and Facebook called QQ and WeChat, and you know, I'm very integrated in all those, and I really want to talk about some of the things that I've been dealing with over here. You know, when we move into a new scenario, or sorry, a new environment, I'm sure many of you are aware now that you've reached the age where you realize how much the environment controls you. 5% of our brain is conscious, really, and the other 95% that does everything right now is unconscious. For instance, I'm sitting on a chair and I've got my arms crossed, and that wasn't a conscious part of me doing that. It was a very unconscious process, and that's how our unconscious brain really sort of controls us. So moving environments, you know, again, really makes you realize how important this is. And how important it is for you to definitely move environments. If you've been sitting in one place for a long time, if you're wondering why you're not getting things done, or you know, achieving stuff in your business, a lot of it comes down to focus and all those unconscious decisions that your brain makes. So every day I'm asking myself the questions like, what am I focusing on? How much am I focusing? Even right now, I have a timer on my desk that I've been using on and off for years, but consistently, probably for the last 3 weeks, I've been using this timer, and I have 53 minutes on and then 7 minutes off. So I work, and I do that consistently after I finish my morning routine, which is another part of life that I really want to talk to you guys about. So this internet really sucks away our focus, and so I want to use this message to this audio message to really get you to question, what are you doing every day? And you know, it's been interesting. I haven't been using a journal in the past, but I use one every day these days, because as soon as I find that I'm going off focus, the first thing I do is I jump into my journal and I literally write down the thoughts in my brain right there and then. That allows me to move away from the paralyzing effect of the internet and all this information overload. And at the same time, it allows me to overcome writer's block when I'm doing programming or writing a new sales funnel or website or whatever it may be, or even just an email. So I have physical diaries and I also have digital diaries, and the solution is a hybrid of both. Use both. If you're looking to make money on the internet, you definitely need to be good at typing fast, because it just hinders your development in every single way. And we should probably have a session about that at another time, how to improve your typing. But I'm constantly asking myself, what are the skills required to advance myself to the next level? You know, I'm questioning myself on how can I make the programmers work more effectively? How can I inspire them to get things done on time, or you know, in a manner that they're not going to be pressured as well, because I put them under a lot of pressure to get things done all the time. You know, how can I communicate effectively? And it does come down to that communication. So something else I wanted to talk about today is especially since being in China now, I've been, you know, really looking for the best way to develop sales funnels again, because I'm going to be getting into sales webinars again. And so I've been exploring ClickFunnels, which I think is probably the best system that I've come across in creating sales funnels. And that's a really important skill for people to just slowly get their heads around. It's pretty much as simple as WordPress, easier than WordPress. There's a link below this video if you guys want to discover ClickFunnels. That's what I'm really focusing on now, and I'm using that to create new shoe campaigns and new campaigns for electronics today. Status of the app development. For those of you who are getting their own app, I've put a link in there that shows you where the programmers are at as of 25th of September. And basically they've created a new interface with easier timers. It gets more people to buy quicker and faster. And that's really going to increase sales more. I mean, if you can pay the same amount of money and double sales, then that's a huge savings. I've done calculations in the past of how much money we've wasted in bad converting apps that we've had in the past. And, you know, there's definitely a good $900,000 sitting there that could have been made, that I could have put towards the foundation. So moving on, so that's coming along. We've also got an advertising co-op, which we're going to pull off. But I'm really going to leave that up to you guys to organize. And it would require, I'll just bring up the document. I'll put a link to the document. So it would require 4 roles: a Facebook ads manager, a bookkeeper and payouts manager, and push notifications manager, and an email marketing manager. So all those roles, people could earn a percentage from the business that way. But I'll put a link for you guys to read it. And it creates a sort of a no barrier to entry. It's going to increase the chances of the app being successful. And for people who don't have a lot of funds. So say, for instance, we initially put in $20,000 in funding the advertising of the app. You know, say, for instance, somebody puts in $5,000, then they would earn 25% of the profits of the app after all costs, obviously. So it's a way that, yeah, you guys can get a piece of the pie. So that's going to be coming out on one of the apps that J&D, the programmers, are creating. So I put a link in there under the video on that. Next, so the Self-Perpetuating Sustainable Education Centers. So I'll also put a link in under the video on these. We've had some huge breakthroughs at Transition Foundation on building these education centers. Now, one of the things is you're probably asking, why is this so important? Well, I mentioned right at the start of the call, start of this audio, that you're completely controlled by the environment that you're in, okay? And I mean, I started, I first had big success in my business when I was sitting in Thailand. I had no distractions. I was there with my laptop. I was masterminding with other people who were making millions of dollars on the internet. And guess what? That's when my first business took off. And I started to get good at networking, which is a really important skill as well. And I started networking online and introducing people. I noticed patterns in conversations. And that's when my business took off. So it comes down to a mindset, and it comes down to being in the right environment to really make a business happen really quickly. And I see these education centers as the place for this to happen. So somebody wants to go and make money, they can move away or move to a more empowering environment. I mean, these industrial ways that we set up our living areas at the moment, they don't really serve us very well, okay? They don't allow us to connect with other human beings. It keeps us very separate. It doesn't allow us to network. We're too far away from each other. And it's just not really a very workable solution. It's like really difficult. There's a high barrier to entry, high living costs. So it just really makes it very hard to break through in your business. So we've had 2 sites. There's one in Tasmania, which I'll put a link to, which is basically put as priority 2. And then we've got another site, that's Northern Tasmania, by the way. And then we've got another site that we can actually build on now. There's 12 people, 12 entrepreneurs living there right now who are already on this path. They're all under 40. One guy's working out how to make foam from mushrooms. He's a very empowered guy on the internet. Another guy, a good friend of mine, he's building the open source ecology global village construction set, which is really exciting. And there's a bunch of people there doing all sorts of things. Some of them quite spiritual as well. And I've been holding off announcing this place because there wasn't very good high-speed internet there. But just before I left China, I met up with the internet guy, and he said that we can get high-speed internet in there by running an antenna into the place. So for those of you who don't know where Kaigal is, I'll put a link after this video, and you can go and check it out and see actually what's built there already. But basically it's a solution for someone who's serious about generating money. I mean, if you think about it, for me, in my business, Hamish and I, we have flown all over the world. As soon as there's a meeting or something, that's how serious we are about making, money or making a difference. Immediately we jump on a plane and we go, okay? And so if you're serious about starting a business, when I've got this set up, these education centers properly set up, it would be one of the first places, it's the best opportunity, one of the first places for you to go to. You wake up, you're with like-minded people, you're living in a low-cost area, or you can have more funds available so you can spend it on your business so that you can break through that threshold. And you can network and form businesses with other people. So it's a really empowering environment that will, I mean, I like to say put your business on steroids, but it's, I see it as the only way to build a business. Otherwise, if you're in an environment where the TV's on, or you're with family, or you're with friends, or whatever it may be, there's too much room for distraction. I've also been experimenting, so that's a really big thing. I've also been experimenting with a new workflow software, which I probably next week will share with you guys. And it's allowing me to get done a lot more stuff than before. And I think that I will be using that a lot more moving forward. So I'll be sharing that with you, but I'm going to give it another week. I've been experimenting with it for about 3 weeks, but I'm pretty much getting about 1.5 times more stuff done than just using project management software and mind mapping. So I'm really excited by that, and I guess that's because I've reached this level of efficiency and moving into a new level of it and working out even better ways of efficiency. It's actually getting rid of my writer's block as well, which is a problem that I've had in the past. All right, guys, so the final message here is knuckle down on your businesses. Don't put all your eggs all in one basket. That's another big thing that I learned many years ago. Have multiple things going, and think logically through everything. If you're looking at your computer and you're just browsing through everything all the time, then stop browsing. I'm going to send out a report on my daily rituals, or my daily things that I do, so you guys can see how I get things done, because I think that's the best way that you guys are going to learn how to massively achieve. I know you're big achievers, in other areas of life. It might not be online, but in this internet environment where the information is just too rich, there needs to be a serious amount of mind control and self-control. Final thing is, I've also had somebody contact me and tell me how we can actually acquire land for free, Crown land or Queen's land. So the Queen's Crown land in Queensland, New South Wales and Perth, throughout Australia for free. So we're investigating that. So if you guys are interested in helping investigate that, just leave a comment below. If you've got any questions from this audio broadcast, just put a question in the comments below. I'm going to be doing these audio broadcasts a lot more often, because I feel like sometimes we don't need to ramble on for a long time on webinars, and it's just about digesting information, having that positive influence in your life, getting a good dose of some good advice for your own internet business, and then focus. Focus is the number one key. So think about how you're focusing. If you're not focusing very well, get a diary right now. In fact, I know that you're not focusing very well, so absolutely get a diary. We'll be covering more of this focus stuff in the future, and especially for these roles, if people are going to be getting a pie of this app business, then we need to really focus on the focus. So looking forward to the next webinar. I do apologize. The previous webinar is in the members area. I'm working on transitioning the members area to a better members area, which will hopefully be happening over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully can get some good internet to have a webinar for next week. All right, and have a powerful day.